colleagues. This will be loaded on the Change of Faces panel, and then you can do it at any time, so that way you can always come up to it. So thank you, Stacy, and thank you to Harder, Wisconsin, for having me today. So it's very weird to come back here and present about another organization when it was reversed not long ago. So bear with me as I'm still working on my presentation strategy, but very excited to be here. So Stacy, I'll just kind of wave at you. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about who Centergy is, how we represent the region, and what initiatives we are working on that your individual companies, organizations, or the region are benefiting from. So who is Centergy, right? Because Centergy is a weird name. Most people haven't heard of it. As I'm getting out and about now, trying to really build those connections. But the easiest way to say it, yeah, you don't have to read that because that's why it's small print purposely so you guys don't read it. But we are a nonprofit organization. We're a 501c4, but really what we do is economic development for the region. So that means we help with business growth, business retention. We work on issues that are impacting the region, such as childcare, broadband issues. And then we really work on bringing the private and public sector together. So that's municipalities, government, right? And then bringing them at the table with private business. So we serve 5 counties, and that includes Lincoln, Marathon, Adams, Portage, and Wood County. Specifically what we do right now, right, because your strategy changes as you're a business organization. We do talent attraction and retention for the region, and then again, business development, and then promoting innovation and entrepreneurship as well. So those are some of our primary areas of focus that we have right now. This just shows you a little bit about our service area. So I'd like to kind of explain a little bit about Centergy. So Centergy was founded originally back in the 90s. There are a total of 9 regional economic development entities in the state of Wisconsin. So we call ourselves README for short because, of course, we have lots of acronyms. And so there's 9 of us, and how each of them are funded is by private investment and then also contributions from the state itself. So the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation gives us an annual amount, and we report it back just like a grant. So we say who we're reaching out to for economic development, what meetings are we having, and what initiatives are we pushing forward. So we're held very accountable to those dollars, and then if they feel we haven't done those, then we don't get those fundings. I can tell you're Centergy is something stuff up, which is great. That means we're always doing innovative new things. So I want to talk to you a little bit about our team. I apologize, the TV is cutting it off a little bit. But we do have a core group of board members. So again, as a nonprofit, we're required to have a board. Bobby Gambro with Mid-State Technical College, many of you know her. She's our the vice president in the workforce development area. She is currently my board chair, but our board is comprised of each industry, right? That includes, energy, that includes financial, that includes construction trade groups, right? So all of those are kind of notated in our board of directors, right? So there's representation from each of the counties on our board. And look at those lovely headshots, right? So that's our team there. So Bobby Dambrell, Paul Fowler, Nick Faber, Gautam, Malik, John Eisel, Jim Matheson, Melinda Ossenberg. Wow, Mike Smith, Mike Whitty, and then Manny Vasquez. So a great group of individuals that have led us, and they were just all voted. So they're most of them, I would say 3 of them, are pretty new to the board this year and really diving into it. And we're working on our board interim limits now for our strategy as we move forward. But I also like to share about our investors, right, too. So who are our investors directly, right? So since we started, I like to always call out our new investors, of course. So that's Myron Construction and Grieve Fire Management Services have recently joined our team. And I tell people that even though we do have investment base from private sector, they're not just investing in Centergy, they're investing in our specific programs and projects, right? Because our goal at the end of the day is to help solve problems that are impacting their businesses. And this is what this group does, and this is what they're investing in. I do like to share that I am the only paid staff person for Centergy, so we do a lot of work with very little manpower, which is fantastic. And my office actually is based in Wausau. I'm only there 1 day a week because I'm traveling between the counties. So I'm here today. Tomorrow I'll be in Marshfield, for example, and on Friday I will be there also, traveling everywhere. But my office is in the North Central Regional Planning Commission office. So I don't have my own stable building or anything like that. My office is within someone's office, but that's okay because I have many offices such as this one. And then also the tech schools, I'm on campus with them and the university as well. To get to see everybody. So I want to talk to you about the strategies. Recently, Centergy went through a strategic planning session. So we're in the process of developing a full strategy. Actually, this week I'm working on this. But what we're doing is we're looking at what the needs of the region are and looking to hear from everyone. We want to hear from businesses, municipalities, communities, nonprofits. What's impacting you? What's the thing that's keeping you awake at night? What's keeping your staff awake at night, right? Because if we don't know what those issues are, how are we supposed to solve them or advocate for them down at the so like I said, we've been working on our strategic plans. So some pillars of focus that we have are talent development, which is anything really talent related. So that's that attraction, retention piece, development, partnering with our local chambers, their educational pieces. Advocacy, I'll touch on that because that's one of my favorite things I get to do in this role. Business development, right? So we work with businesses and to help them secure some funding. We do requests for information. And then really our investor relations. We want to engage our current investors, just like any organization, but we also want to engage potential investors, right? To let them know what our chambers are doing so we can advocate for our chambers more because at the end of the day, I always tell people that chamber are boots on the ground and we would do nothing without. So I'm a social media person. I don't know if you guys know this a little bit. But one of our first strategies was to execute was to get out and about, start traveling around our region, start experiencing our region and visiting places. So I always say, let's get social because I point at things and run around on social media and apparently it's great engagement. So I visited all of our current investors and potential investors. I've done community tours for each of the communities. The only one I'm waiting on is to go to the meeting. So Tara, you and I will be doing that this spring, hopefully. But really just understanding and posting and telling the world about it, right? Because I don't know if you guys believe this or not, but we do not brag about ourselves here in Central Wisconsin. We have great opportunities, great education, great tech, right? But we just don't talk about that stuff enough. Everyone thinks that they have to go to a big city for that, and you don't have to. We got it right here in our region. So that's our purpose of getting more social. And then, of course, we want to get people together, right? So part of that mission or pillar focus was really investor engagement. But we want to get everyone together, right? So we've had a welcome reception that we're going to be doing yearly to thank our investors and our partners and give updates and talk about what's going on. We've been able to attend some large conferences and learn about what best practices are for workforce. I've gotten to speak about childcare. I don't know why, but apparently now I'm a childcare expert because I sit on about 5 or 6 different task forces for it. So at the state level, I got to talk about what Wood County specifically is doing with childcare because they're being innovative and they're very different. And actually, they're one of the shining star projects in the state. So they're from Wood County, right? But yeah, we're just trying to get out as much as we can and network with everyone. So I'm going to talk about our 3 core programs quickly. Just because these are kind of staple that we have. All of our other operations and programs have changed, but these 3 kind of will stay permanent until they become relevant. So we're going to start with Central to Success, which is probably going to be my favorite, again, social media marketing person. So anything that is out and about. So Central to Success is a talent attraction and retention campaign. This was developed by some investors and key stakeholders in the region a few years ago. And let me go to the next slide to show an example. So WEDC, so the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, a few years ago, well, maybe it's more than a few years now because time has lost steam at this point, but they did a campaign where they marketed outside of the state of Wisconsin. So what they did is Chicago, Minneapolis, they would put a big poster, big signage on maybe, the rail and say, hey, why sit here for an hour when you can sit here? And they would have TV and a beach, right? Because an hour commute here is nothing. An hour commute there is you're going 2 miles, right? So trying to entice people that maybe don't want the city life anymore. When the administration current that's in office currently took over, they did remove a lot of that funding opportunity, so they went away from it. But we went to that same firm, he's here, and we said, can you do the same campaign but only for Central Wisconsin? And can you do it, of course, at a way cheaper price point? And they said yes. So Nelson Schmidt, based out of Madison, is our consulting group, and we are working on a campaign that's specific for Central Wisconsin. So it's going to talk about job opportunities, quality of life. It's going to have education opportunities. We're going to have an integrated job board. We're also going to have an integrated real estate property integration into the website called In Wisconsin for commercial property, so we can entice people and show them the available property in the area. You're like, what are you integrating? Well, we're integrating it into a one-stop shop website that'll be available for use for our investors and our partners. And again, so anyone, an organization or a business could say, hey, I need to recruit someone, but I'm looking to recruit this individual and they want to know more about Central Wisconsin. You would send them to this website. So we're in development of that program right now, but that program has a very specific focus, right? Careers, education, family, cost of living, community, and that quality of life. We know we can't, it's hard to compete with other communities in Wisconsin, but at the end of the day, if we're not promoting ourselves, who is, right? So we want to make sure that we're doing that. We're going to be focusing on some key areas. So this is what our current website looks like. I'm not a fan of it. And I can do that because I'm working for so, but it's kind of based right now where you click and it's you go to ads. And you go to what? I don't know what you guys, I'm from here. I'm not looking out of county, right? I don't see county borders when I look at quality of life. I live in Portage County. I probably spend most of my time funds in Wood County. I'm recreating up in Lincoln County. So nobody does the county thing, right? So how do we build this website? We're building it based on experience. I'm a student. And I'm going to school at UWSP. Here's my opportunity. My wife is getting a job here. Where can I find a job? There's a pathway, right? So we're making this easier, clickable. Then we're doing the big data things, like 20% cheaper to live here, right, than any other community, right? We're using statistics like that. Also, Grand Rapids is one of the safest communities, right, in the nation. Right? So we're going to market that. Those bright, shiny star projects within our region that we certainly want to do. But it's really good platform, really great program. In the next 5 months, this website will be live. So we're very excited. So since my time, we've been collecting data, collecting information, and I meet weekly with our designers to go over every ounce of our website. So I'm sure they'll be sick of me by the end of it, but we're going to have a great product that all of the community. So the website will be open to the public for anybody to use, but there's other components of it. There's just where you cover. So there's going to be marketing, so flyers, collateral, posters, all those big things. And then our next phase is going to be social media campaign. I'm looking to spend about $250,000 just on social to again get that target those specific markets, which include professional services, veterans, and then university graduates. So anyone who went to a university in Wisconsin, we're hoping to target them because they're more likely to come back here, right? They have a tie. Or we can't market to Texas, right? Or California necessarily. They've lived there their whole life. And we drive in and internet, right? Probably don't want to go there. But realistically, we have to promote to other people that think like Minnesota, right? I don't know about you guys, but Minnesota, I don't know what's going on over there. Michigan, right? Very much so like us. Illinois, right? I hope Anna's from Illinois. I tell them every time. But those are some examples of some targeted. So the marketing material, the social, that portion of it is going to be restricted for our investors. But the actual website, again, it's a website, but we want the communities to use it. Like all the chambers will be able to use it because they're partners with us. And they'll actually be able to use the social and content as well too. So just because there's such great partners with us. But yeah, we're very excited for that program. But I get to travel outside the state too. So the last part of it, which of course is my favorite, I love to talk, is I'm going to travel outside of the state of Wisconsin. I'm going to go to events that are discharge events for military individuals, and the military, of course, pays for one move after discharge. And we're going to try to entice them to move to central Wisconsin. There's an organization called Mission Wisconsin. They do this already. They connect veterans to veterans that live in the state already, trying to entice them to come here. And I said, I can save you money, save me money. Let's partner together, split booths and travel, and I'll promote Central Wisconsin, but also help you promote Wisconsin as in its entirety. Said yes. So as soon as our platform is ready, I'll be traveling outside the state to represent the region at these different events. So we're pretty excited about that. Does anybody have any questions on Central Success?
I hate to be a downer, but bringing these new people in, that's a positive, but just in general, the housing situation and cost of housing. If you're bringing in more people and we already have lack of housing as it is, are you addressing that as well?
Yeah, one of the initiatives Centergy is working on specifically is housing. We're looking at different bills and legislation that support more dollars for incentive to come to smaller communities. So a lot of the WHEDA, the Wisconsin Housing Development Authority, they have a lot of funds that go to communities, but they go to Madison and Milwaukee, right? Those bigger communities always pick up those funds. So there's bills and pieces of legislation that are coming out. One was just announced a couple weeks ago that are specific to populations less than 10,000. So those funds would directly go to rural communities. So we're looking for that. We're also, that piggybacks actually on the next topic, which is the developer tour. We're trying to bring developers in to entice housing development here in central Wisconsin. So that would be mixed use housing. So that can be, again, there's really low end, right? That entry, very small level homes right now, or the very expensive homes that are available. There's none of that in between, right? It's just such a hot market. So we're looking at what that middle ground housing is and how we can better bring a lot of that in. I know the city of Wisconsin Rapids working on something, and also Marshfield is confirming a housing project, right? Great question. So the developer tour, which I'm excited because it's here in Wood County. So last year was the first year Centergy hosted a developer tour. So essentially it sounds just like what it is. You throw developers in a van, a bus, or in some place in a community, and you tour them around and you show them the available properties. You know, normally I would say wine and dine, but this is central Wisconsin, so they beer and cheese stuff, right? Last year they toured the Stevens Point area and the Wausau area. Great participation. Actually, this is what spurred two of the housing developments that have happened. So again, this is something that Centergy offers for our region. So the dates for this one is June 27th and 28th. The 27th will feature Marshfield. The 28th will feature Wisconsin Rapids. This is not a public event. This is a private event. It'll be invite only. So like Stacy from the chamber will have an invite our municipality contacts, right? Because we want them to build that connection with the developers, so it's for them to do business together. And then our sponsors will be in attendance as well. And that includes contractors, construction, right? People who want to get into contact with other developers to help grow their business. So very excited. We're in the midst of planning that. So Central Wisconsin Day. So I want to talk about advocacy. I think advocacy is very important. Your time is limited though, right? We know that at the end of the day, business comes first, your families come first. But sometimes all the other things kind of get to the wayside, and that's where Centergy comes in and we can help. So Central Wisconsin Day, we actually just hosted this, is a way that you can advocate down at the Capitol one day as a regional group. So we go down, we pick topics that are developed, we have groups that go down, we have team leaders, and they talk about not maybe the issues, right? Because you don't have to be an expert in an issue, because I'm not an expert and I actually help write some of these papers. It's more about sharing your experiences, right? It's about, hey, one of our topics was child care. I shared the example, my sister after COVID wanted to go back to work. She couldn't find daycare for her two children because they both have severe ADHD, and because they were a behavior child, there was no place that would take them. She couldn't go back because there was nobody skilled enough to handle them in the area, right? We have our 2-year waiting list, right, at our local wines club, especially for infants. So we went down there and just shared those stories, right? And they were really well received. We talked about personal property tax. For fingers crossed, it sounds like that's going to go away. So very exciting for small business, because essentially small businesses, I don't know if you guys know this, they're almost triple taxed because of the personal property tax and filing. And so, small business is really the heart and soul of Wisconsin, so we want to make sure that we're not getting triple taxed. I like to share this little notation, but Wisconsin is the second highest tax state that's non-postal. Isn't that scary? We don't, Illinois, it's not, right? I gotta say, they complain about taxes all the time. I'm like, how we can get rid of that? And it looks like they will be moving forward with removing some of the tax burden from the top level 10% as well. Again, we're not going to get accepted here for paying 12. So those are just some things that we advocated on. You can kind of slowly click through the next couple slides because they're just photos and posts. You can skip over that. So this is our large photo from this year. We had close to 100 attendees for the physical day of event. The day before, we have a lovely leadership reception where we have CEOs and some of those top leaders come in to talk about things that are happening. That's that leadership reception. Oh, look, Stacy, you're there on the bottom with Patrick. Great organizations in attendance. So we had municipalities there, we had legislators there. And this is actually the day of the event. So we're down in Madison. We train everyone before we send them to their respective meetings. But it was such a good day to connect and learn about issues that are impacting. And while we were there, right, we were talking about childcare. There's 2 other childcare groups there the same day as us. Then the day before there was other childcare groups. And then after us, there was other childcare groups that were lobbying. So, I mean, again, we're all going down that same great path. So absolutely fantastic to be able to host and facilitate this. At the end of the day, our job is to be the voice for the businesses in the region. So this is that event where we get to be that voice. You can't always go down to the Capitol, but I do. I always make time to go down there, talk about what's impacting our businesses. I go to different advocacy days as well. So Wisconsin Economic Development Association, I've gone to their advocacy day as well, and represent the region that way as well. So but there's more, okay? I can't believe I'm saying we're doing more, right? So strategic doing is something UWSP is doing. They're looking at entrepreneurship and innovation. So we're partnering with them. The Rural Innovation Network, again, we're trying to really expand entrepreneurship in our region because we have it. It's here. People just don't know about it. And we want to increase tech. So I'm actually next week I fly out to Michigan. I'm going to the Rural Innovation Network National Conference to learn about how we as a rural community can better serve entrepreneurs in our area. We also have broadband. I don't know about you guys, but mine build a plan that the funding is federal funding that we're passing to each county to do planning to expand their broadband to their non-service areas or most service areas. We're also looking at a couple of expansions of businesses, which you can't just quite yet talk about. Municipality engagement. There's a save the date. We're bringing the municipalities and the economic development entities for the region together the first time. All in one room to talk about what they're working on, best practices, how we can partner together. A competitive Wisconsin, stay tuned on that. We're doing an accelerator for the first time as well. So we were selected for that. And our career pathways, which is a PISA program, which really helps students pipeline into employers. So very exciting things that are coming, and I still am working on a whole lot more. So we're pretty excited about that. So I know I rambled off a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm pretty sure that's my last slide, right? It is my last slide. So I'll take your questions now. Go ahead.
Broadband, is that for business, obviously, but is that also for general public?
Yeah. So
or like where you're out in the woods where you live, and respectively, but someone, your neighbor that works at Quick Trip, could have access better.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah, so the purpose of the broadband isn't just about business, it's about the actual infrastructure. Students need broadband, right? Families need broadband if you're working from home. Education, right? Students jumping on the most terrible threat I've heard is during COVID, because everything went virtual. Kids were having to go to church parking lots because they didn't have correct Wi-Fi access to be able to stream their classes. They're sitting in a car in a church park. I mean, that can't be great for learning, right? So this is for everybody. This isn't just solely business. This is, we want accessibility. Our goal would be have full coverage in every county. We know that that's a really hard process, right? As we're working with internet service providers. But there's going to be billions of dollars that from the federal government to the states to help with this. So Centergy is helping with the planning infrastructure, and then once those funding come down, Centergy actually will push all the money to the counties. So they'll get millions of dollars to help expand their infrastructure, but they have to have a plan before they get funding. So that's what we're helping with to make sure they're ready. Some other questions, Colton?
So,
He told me he was gonna have questions, so I'm prepared.
so there's a lot of focus on bringing people in this area. Now, I look at people like Adam, who went to high school here, then we left for a long time. And now our jobs make us flexible to be back here in the area. But what are we doing to try to keep more local talent? I touched on a few topics, working with the colleges. Is there things that you can be better at?
Yeah, so retention rate is one of the big focus. I would like to be very blunt about this. Everyone's like, we need to keep every single person here. Let's be honest, that's not realistic, right? We know when kids get out of high school, college, they want to go experience, right? But we want them to boomerang back, right? They had a great experience. So while they're here, when they're in high school, when they're going to college, we want to give them a good experience. We want to show them quality of life. We want to show them the job opportunities. A lot of people get in tech and then they leave because they think there's no real tech industry here. There's lots of tech. They just, again, don't talk about it. So we're trying to bridge that gap and show the available jobs and show the opportunities that we're working on. We're working with Mid-State, NTC on their youth apprenticeship programs as well, because we want to showcase those. Again, if you get them in the door of a company, even if it's an internship for a little short period of time, they have an attachment, right? For example, I've talked to some of the classes that I spoke at Adams High School yesterday. All of them said none of them were staying. They said they're going to school elsewhere. And I said, would you ever come back? They said not to that specific community, but they would come back when they were ready to bring some kids. So I think we need to keep that in mind, that as we're talking about retention, we want to keep people here. That should be a goal of ours. But I also want those kids to go out, experience it, and come back and bring those experiences back to us, right? Because then we're not siloed as a community. So I always like to remind people that culture, diversity, all of that, that's coming back to us is great. But we're really working on, Centergy was graced with the grant, with the Workforce Innovation grant with Mid-State Technical College. We received about $600,000, and it's specifically for retention. So all of those funds will be spent on marketing, advertising, jobs, opportunities for that retention of employees. So that's currently what we're working on with them, and then see the career pathways, which I'm very excited. I'll have to come back and do a separate presentation on that, but career pathways is absolutely fantastic. They take every industry and they say accounting, you want to be a basic accountant, all the way to CPA. They work you through what that transition looks like as a student. So if you want to be a basic accountant, here's the click, here's the schooling you need. You want to be a CPA, right? Like the highest level, this is what you have to do to get there, right? And they're working through every industry to make this more accessible for students. So I would suggest as business owners or businesses in the community to get involved in that space, because it's really important. They're working on agriculture right now, and they'll slowly work through each industry. So once they get to a specific industry that may include you guys, for example, I'll be reaching out to our chambers and asking for businesses to participate to make sure that they're building this for kids correct. Good question. Another question, Colin? What? Does anybody else have any questions? Tara, do you have any questions for me?
I don't. You did a great job.
Thanks, Tara. Well, great. So thank you guys so much for coming today. I know I handed out a little flyer that kind of says some things. Please ignore my typo because I just did this morning. May is mail. But some quick things that we're doing that are coming up. May 11th up in Stevens Point, the Global Trade Investment Group from Germany will be coming through town. So this would be companies interested in exporting to maybe a different country. That's what this session is for. So if you know a business that maybe would want to export their product to Germany, they can learn about the trade program, and you actually get funding every year to help support you exporting your goods and services. June 8th is our municipality and economic development org roundtable discussion. Again, the 27th and 28th of June, we're doing the developer tour and developer tour on here twice. We're also participating in the the senior PGA event also with the Chambers and Visitor Center from the area, so there'll be close to what, 100,000 people that come to the area in June, and we're very excited to bring developers and event planners to show how great the community are, and we're very excited about all of that. So thanks, everybody. Now you can mingle and hang out. So
Thank you. So for the rest of the time, we've kind of switched this up a bit. So if each of you want to go around, introduce ourselves, what business are you with, as well as any quick updates? Who wants to start? Colton. Colton.
Yeah, Colton, with Kissinger Insurance, PIC. Only big updates is something that our building that I'm in is looking to expand businesses in there. So if anyone's looking for office space, let me. Kissinger Insurance Agency, we're actually very close to you.
Okay.
12th Street, the old human services building.
Oh, okay. As a current client, I can tell you he's very, very good at what he does. Oh, yeah, Adam, yeah. Welcome.
I'm Adam Randall with Northwestern Mutual, retirement investment and insurance planning. I don't really have any major updates. My first coffee with the chamber event, so it was fun. I thought Angel was talking. I thought I gotta make sure to come. So I also travel quite a bit. Angel and I have a standing date sometime to see each other's offices in Wausau because we both office up there. Yeah, no major updates as of now. Currently actively bringing on new clients.
Yeah, you go, it's like going around and you
Oh,
guys
it's
are ready
going
to go
around
on
that
meet.
way.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with ODC. It's really great to see you, Steve and Angel, connect with the chamber and hopefully so just a couple of updates I wanted to share in May is, so those of you who don't know who ODC is, we're an employment agency. Well, we haven't had people to keep their work in high schools. And so May is Mental Health Awareness Month. If you're not aware that we also just opened an outpatient mental health clinic at our location at ODC in Wisconsin Rapids. We do have one opening in Stevens Point later this year. We are also now providing self-employment opportunities for people. So there might be some, as I'm listening to what you were saying, there might be some other opportunities to do some other partnering. We are also facing a direct care workforce shortage. And so really working on building that capacity, building a robust volunteer program to see if we can fill some of those gaps. And then, May's Mental Health Awareness Month. We are having our second annual Portable Golf Benefit at Sam Valley, May 3rd, next week. And so we're excited about that. We're hoping the weather's going to be beautiful, right? Because we had crappy weather, so we're looking for some good weather. And then also, if anybody's interested, we are having a cash calendar raffle in June. I have raffle tickets for sale, $10 each or 3 for $20 if anybody's interested.
Thanks.
Yeah. I'm Laura Bonner Ridgway. I'm the Workforce Development Director here at the Chamber. What's new? I
Talk about your team.
totally revamping the team leadership program that we have here. Love to hear that there's a lot going on with the YA program, as well as the connection of how can we reach the teens to show them what our community has to offer, what career opportunities they have. And my view is if we can get the teens invested in our community, when you're invested in something, you might want to stay. So that's kind of my goal with all of that, is how we can show them a lot more with what's going on with our community. And
You have to live in Wood County to do that in leadership.
you don't, we're actually, well, yes, I guess Wood County. We are partnering with 5 area high schools. We do Pittsville, Assumption, Lincoln, Port Edwards, Nakusa. So we're reaching, it's not just strictly here in Rapids, but I do know that other area chambers, like Stevens Point and things like that, they also have leadership programs as well, team leadership programs. community leadership programs, so.
I'm Lacey Alling. I am the new office manager also at the chamber. And this is my second week, so just kind of meeting everybody and really excited to be here. And she's doing wonderful work.
Yeah, so happy she's here. We'll go to Tara next on Zoom.
Good morning, Tara Plassance from the Mosney Area Chamber of Commerce. We work a little bit with Centergy. Can't wait to do more. And Stacy and I have some plans to do some things together too, so very excited about that.
Thanks for jumping on, Tara.
Yeah, thank you.
Kim?
Hi, Kim Griffin with Saratoga Solar Project. We are a 150 megawatt solar array in development in the town of Saratoga, not to be confused with Wood County Solar Project, which is already constructed in the town of Saratoga. And I do have some news. Last week, the Public Service Commission voted unanimously to authorize the construction of Saratoga Solar Project, which is pretty exciting.
Oh, that's awesome. Yay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for jumping on. So I will go. I'm Stacy Keavy. I'm the president and CEO at the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber. I just wanted to update you all on the Sip Shop Support Local starts Saturday. So go out, support your local businesses. Pick up one of these passports. Looks like this, right? All of these businesses are participating. So all you have to do is bring this passport around. You can go in, have them sign it, right? Purchase something. They'll write the dollar amount down. The more squares you buy, the more times will be entered in for raffle prizes. Okay. Once you're done with this, it lasts the whole week. Okay. Starting Saturday, bring it back into the chamber, and that's how we'll get you entered in. But again, it's just a great way to shop local, support local. So.
Market is on there.
Yes, it is.
We're a retail shop at OVC.
I was going to drop off flyers. Can I just give them to you?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Absolutely fantastic.
Works.
That will be on my stuff. Good. I need some new decor.
Oh.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wasn't gonna interrupt.
Here.
What? No, we got Angel in the room with you, I don't know. Don't listen to Angel, and she'll give me a bad rep.
And they have been absolutely fantastic. When I had to move, he took care of a lot of items that I couldn't take with me or that needed to go. So
No, I'm resisting. You are been such an ally. You know, you are an asset to our community. And please give me a call. Check out, I still hope they have my cards at the chamber still. I'm a member.
Well, yeah, we'll have to check up there to see if we have, otherwise just leave more
Always
business.
ends up maybe when Krista or Angel left. They just
Morning, my name is Tommy Kaczynski, and with Indoor Construction, we're a general contractor, been around for 130-some years, based out of Madison, but we are celebrating our 5-year anniversary of our Wausau office this fall.
Great.
And we partner with a number of chambers around here as well as Centergy.
North was our presenting sponsor for Central Wisconsin Days, so without their support, you know, that event's pretty hard to manage without that. So we appreciate you, Joe, and the whole team, and that they always come in and do great work for us.
Thanks for coming.
I'm Haley from Avenue Title. We have a location in Wausau and are expanding to Wisconsin Rapids, which is great because I'm from Wisconsin Rapids. And I do residential and commercial real estate closings. So all of your real estate closing needs. And we also, a little bit of update, the market has been picking back up and we've been getting really busy. So it's great to see some sales and stuff happening in, with new purchases. It's always great to see new homeowners.
All right. Well, that is all. If you guys want to hang around, kind of mingle a little bit, you're more than welcome. But thank you all for coming, and let us know if there's anything else that we can do for you. Thank you guys on Zoom.
Thank you. Bye.